up over 480% in just 6 months. That can be the power of investing in low-cost stocks that are high-growth companies. Here to share his list of 7 high-growth stocks currently trading for under $10 is MarketBeat analyst Chris Markoch. Now, Chris, this is a topic a lot of growth investors are really interested in. They want to get in on these high-value companies very early.
You look at an example last year was a company called Paladine AI. If you bought the stock last year when it was under $10, you've been rewarded with a gain of over 480%. And that's the type of risk reward that a lot of high growth, risk tolerant investors are looking for. And that's kind of what I was looking for when I put together this list.
That is what gets investors so excited, is the potential of that high growth. But like you said, these investments are a risk. These companies aren't quite proven yet, right?
Correct.
All right, Chris, let's get right to your first pick in your list of 7 high growth stocks that are under $10 for now anyway.
Sure. The first pick is Green Thumb Industries. The ticker symbol is GTBIF, and that should be a tip off to investors that this is an over the counter stock. So it trades on the OTC markets. That doesn't mean you can't buy it through one of your trading platforms, but you might have to do something like buy whole shares or something. But again, these stocks are under $10, so that shouldn't be that much of an obstacle. This is a company in the cannabis sector. This has been a terrible sector for most investors for many years. The cannabis sector hasn't taken off as many investors had hoped it would, even though you're seeing more legalization in the United States. But the fact that marijuana is still classified as a Schedule I drug limits the financing opportunities that companies like Green Thumb have. Nevertheless, the opportunity here is that there's probably going to be some consolidation in the industry. Green Thumb has strong fundamentals heading into that. And one thing I noticed was that analysts really like this stock. They've got a consensus price target for the stock of $16.12, which is about a gain of about 130% over where it is right now when we're taping this. If you're looking to take an investment in the cannabis space, this might be one to look at.
And this one does feel like just a riskier overall industry to bet on, simply because there's so many different regulations that could impact the industry as a whole.
Correct.
All right, let's move on to your second pick in a totally different sector.
This is another OTC market stock, and it's called Kion Group. The ticker symbol is KIGRY. They provide equipment like forklifts for manufacturers, but they also provide other integrated automation systems. We're talking about robots and intelligent software and conveyor systems and a whole bunch of stuff to make warehouses more efficient. Investors would probably be more familiar with this company through some of the brands like Dematic and Lind and Still that are under their corporate umbrella. The stock dropped about 20% in 2024. But so far in 2025, it's up about 26.9%. It's not heavily covered by analysts, but the one analyst that did post a rating, he gave it a stock price of about 50 euros, which is approximately 52 US dollars. And that would be an increase of the share price about 400%.
Yeah, that's a big increase, but that one analyst rating, it's not a lot to go off of either.
A lot of these stocks are not going to get a lot of analyst coverage when they're trading for this low.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's move on to your third pick that's under $10 right now.
Sure. The company here is Denison Mines. The ticker symbol is DNN. So this is a uranium play. Denison is a Canadian-based uranium miner. They have one of the largest projects in Canada for mining uranium. The reason why this stock is down right now is because basically because of DeepSeek. DeepSeek came out and it spooked a lot of investors who now believe that maybe the United States isn't going to need as many data centers as we thought we were going to need. And then that means, will we need the power to run those data centers? And if we don't need as much power, we won't need as many nuclear power plants, and that dilutes the case for uranium. That seems like that's an overreaction. That's what most industry analysts believe. So I think what you're going to see is, as the price of uranium rises, Denison Mines would be a good play to get in to capitalize on that movement.
That's really interesting, and a topic so many people are interested in right now. If you are looking to explore nuclear energy investing a little more, check out our latest free premium report on 7 nuclear stock picks. You can scan the QR code or click the link in the description of this video to get that free report on marketbeat.com and get some other nuclear energy stock pick ideas. All right, Chris, let's get back to our high growth stock list. What's your fourth pick for under $10?
Okay, my next pick is Hudbay Minerals. Ticker symbol is HBM. This is another mining stock. Now, the company's primary focus is copper mining. They get about 62% of their revenue from copper, but they also get about 27% of their revenue from gold. So what you've got right now is gold, which is doing very well, copper, which is struggling for some of the same reasons we just talked about with Denison Mines. There's just that lag in some of the data centers. There's some concern over how much infrastructure we're really going to need. Nevertheless, the long-term outlook for copper prices looks very strong. And of course, we know how gold did in 2024 and how it's still likely to do well in 2025. This is a stock that's heavily covered by analysts. They've assigned a consensus price target to this stock of $10.93. That's a 46.5% gain.
Yeah, that's a great return. Not 480%, but still a very solid return that growth
Correct.
investors are looking for. All right, let's move on to your fifth stock pick for under $10 right now.
Here we're moving into the biopharmaceutical sector, and you're going to find a lot of stocks under $10 in that sector. But this is one that I think is worth paying attention to. It's Anavex Life Sciences. The ticker symbol is AVXL. The story here is their lead drug candidate is a drug called Anavex 2-73, and it's a treatment for Alzheimer's disease. But it also has indications for Parkinson's and some other diseases of the central nervous system. If successful, you can imagine this drug would be a blockbuster. That's why the stock has started to soar since December of last year, because the company announced that the European Medicines Agency, EMA, accepted its application to review the drug. The EMA is sort of the European equivalent to our FDA. And while this application approval isn't as significant as maybe if it had got the FDA approval, nevertheless, it's enough to move the stock higher because it shows that there is a pathway for this drug to possibly be approved and start to be sold, at least in Europe.
Yeah, this is one of those plays that is definitely a risk. It might not work out and maybe it won't be proven to be super successful, but if it
Right.
is and you get in early, this could have a big payoff long term, right?
Right. And the good news with what you just brought up, Bridget, is investors don't necessarily have to go and take a full position in the stock right now. They could start a position, see how things are trending as far as those approvals go, and then they can still be adding to their position and they'll still have time.
All right, let's move on to your next stock pick in your list of 7 high growth stocks.
Okay, so this is the last one that I have that's on the OTC markets, and it's Vestas Wind Systems. Ticker symbol is VWDRY. Now, some people might think that's curious that I'm talking about a company that's known for producing wind turbines at a time when we have a president that's actively seeking to drill, baby drill, and blow out the fossil fuel industry. This company has a lot of contracts that are already in place, not only in the United States, but also in Denmark and other countries. Analysts seem to be believing that carries more weight than what might be coming down. And in fact, if they're looking to build wind projects here in the United States, that may actually benefit from any regulatory easing that happens in the Trump administration. The stock is covered by over 24 analysts, which again, for a stock like this is fairly incredible. And they have a consensus price target on of $40.50. That's a gain of over 800%.
Well, let's move on to your final pick. This one not on the OTC market.
No, this is called Aspen Aerogels. Ticker symbol is ASPN. So the company provides industrial insulation that's primarily used for lithium ion batteries. And if that sounds familiar to a lot of investors, that's because those are the batteries that are needed for electric vehicles and other sorts of things that we have. This stock got caught up in the meme stock movement in 2021. It shot up to over $30 per share because everybody was thinking, well, the EV transition was imminent and we were all going to be driving electric cars by now. And obviously that hasn't turned out that way. The pace of that growth has been slowed and that's affected the aerogel stock price. Nevertheless, the stock is approaching about its 18-month lows, and analysts are giving the stock price a consensus target of $16, and that's an 89.5% gain from where it is. So if you believe that the electric vehicle sector isn't dead and that it may have some recovery coming this year and into the future years, now might be a really good time to be looking at this company.
All right. Well, Chris, thank you so much for a great stock list for investors to consider, especially if you're looking for that high growth. If you are all about investing in these low-cost stocks that have high growth potential, take a look at our latest video on how to find the best penny stocks out there. It really explains some of the tools you can find on MarketBeat that are totally free and out there just to help you find these low-cost stocks that actually have some real potential. Thanks again, everyone, and happy investing.